Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk to you about Pandemic Patient Zero. So this is one of the Aconyte books that's based on Matt Leacock's Pandemic. This is Patient Zero, so it's a standalone sort of full story in a sort of universe where a pandemic is going on, and not COVID. It's set very much after COVID, which was sort of interesting to have sort of, you know, another potential pandemic going on after COVID. There was sort of references to it. I've not seen that in really sort of book form before. Certainly not even many TV series sort of mention that when talking about other sort of epidemics or whatever going on. Now, this is the first in a series, but you could very much read this and have enjoyed the story. It's not really got anything going on, or that the characters can carry on to the next one, or maybe some of them can, some of them can't. Don't want to give any spoilers away there, but at least there's some to carry on, but it's sort of finished. It's not like left on a cliffhanger. So it's interesting that they're sort of already saying that there are more books of this pandemic series coming. Is it worth reading though? That's sort of the important one. So it's like 370, 80 pages long. And the start of the book was a little slow. It did take me a little bit of time to get into this. It didn't instantly grab me. But when I was sort of at least sort of probably a third of the way through, then I really started to read this. It really felt like, oh, I want to find out what happens next. Now, I do have not an issue with this because it's just my personal style. It's got a lot of long chapters. I'm sort of one of those people that likes the shorter chapters, where it means you can sort of read a bit, stop, and sort of you've stopped at the end of a chapter. There are, however, sort of those line break pauses where it's changing from one thing to another throughout chapters, so you can pause neatly on those. It's not like you're stopping halfway or at the end of a random paragraph and stuff like that. So there are sort of pauses that you can stop in when you're reading at night, for instance. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine when the chapters are long when they don't necessarily need to be. They could have, some of those pauses could have just been the end of a chapter and go on to a new one. Without giving any spoilers away, based solely off the stuff on the back, the plotline is that the team is sent to Brazil to sort of look into a potential issue and to see if certain things are connected. And then they have to get to the bottom of it, finding out, sort of helping out the local hospitals and so on as something starts to spread. Now, it does kind of link, it's a loose linking. It keeps dropping the words like epidemic and pandemic and stuff like that in there. But to be honest, if this book didn't have the pandemic name on it, it probably would read exactly the same. It maybe mentions a couple of locations that are specifically on the pandemic board, but other than that, well, it starts to then get a bit more limited. It doesn't sort of go down any of the information you find in Pandemic Legacies or anything like that could have been maybe Easter eggs, or at least I didn't notice them, and I've played all three. But it's a good book. It was an interesting sort of read. It's the first one of the sort of board game books that I've finished reading. I'm glad I've read it. I might try the next one in the series, but like I say, it didn't grab me from the offing, but certainly by the end I was very much enjoying the read and wanted to find out what happened to the team and potentially the world. Anyway, that is Patient Zero, the Pandemic not board game book, and well, until next time, have a great day gaming.